For decades, Billy Joel and Elton John were the poster boys of piano-driven rock, inseparable on stage, yet famously sparring off it. This spring, the 76-year-old piano man has at last told his side of the story. What emerges is a tale of two legends bound by admiration and rivalry, friendship and regret, and finally, reconciliation. To appreciate their saga, it helps to chart the key moments. After first pairing at massive New York concerts, Joel and John launched the face-to-face tours in 1994. Together, they became the longest-running and most successful concert tandem in pop music history, filling stadiums with two pianos and trading hits and harmonies. Each show was a celebration. They played their own anthems, sang each other's classics, and even duetted on songs like Your Song and Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. After 16 years together, Billy announced a break. A planned 2010 summer leg never materialized. Joel later said it was never booked and that he simply got tired of doing the same show over and over again. Elton, feeling blindsided, accused Joel of canceling tours due to alcoholism. In a notorious 2011 interview, John admitted, "Billy's a conundrum. We've had so many canceled tours because of alcoholism. Every time he's gone to rehab, they've been rehab light. When I went to rehab, I had to clean the floors. Billy, you're not going to get rid of your demons at rehab light." He framed it as tough love for his friend. The press declared a feud, but Billy insisted otherwise. He downplayed Elton's barbs and blamed health issues. "I had to have my hips replaced," he explained later. "The last few gigs I did with Elton, I could barely walk. Canes on stage is not good." Joel also chafed at the way the story was told. "I kept seeing in the press, Billy canceled the tour. I didn't cancel it. It was never booked," he said. "I asked him, 'Why didn't you call me?' 'Don't talk to my agent. Talk to me.'" Meanwhile, Elton regretted his outburst, but never formally apologized in public. By the mid-2000s, teens, the dust was settling. "Billy and Elton quietly buried the hatchet a long time ago," Joel has said. In interviews, he laughed off the drama, even recalling playful backstage antics. "I'd tie his shoes on stage just to mess him up," he joked, and he stressed that their friendship endured. Covering Elton's Goodbye Yellow Brick Road at Madison Square Garden in 2015 was really an homage, Billy explained. "He's like the guy before me. He was the piano player before I was a piano man. I felt humbled by it. I thought, I'd like to tip my hat to the man." That same year, Joel quipped that he and Elton had made up a long time ago. "We sat down and I was like, 'Don't throw your friends under the bus.'" Elton's farewell Yellow Brick Road tour brought their story full circle. Billy skipped the road shows but teased fans as a possible guest. In 2018, he mused about musical legacies. "Elton John would say to me, 'Why don't you put out more albums?' I would say, 'Why don't you put out fewer albums?' I didn't want to come out and say, 'You're dragging down your legacy.'" In other words, Billy still admires Elton's talent, but worries about overextending a classic catalog. Even so, there's no bitterness. He said he'd still sing with Elton if he asked me to, and he's happy to celebrate the other's amazing career as listeners look back. In their heyday, Elton John and Billy Joel were a match made in music heaven. They first met on stage in the early 90s, two red-necked Ivy Leaguer piano men, and discovered a kinship. In 1994, they launched the Face-to-Face Arena Tour, playing live to packed stadiums. "The truth is, there's nothing going on," Billy would later say of that time. "It was all about the music." For 16 years, the shows grew more epic. Each night featured 2 grand pianos and 2 sets of hits. The duo sang the other's songs, backed each other, and duetted on crowd favorites. Offstage, they were close friends. Both saw themselves as working-class kids who hit it big on piano bars. They bonded over early influences and even quirky personal details. Each has Jewish roots, New York sensibilities, and album cover fondness for opulent suits. In interviews, Joel gratefully acknowledged Elton's path-breaking role. He quipped that John was the piano player before I was a piano man, and credited him as a pioneer. At the New York show where Joel broke Elton's Garden residency record, he paid tribute by serenading the crowd with Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. In Joel's telling, it wasn't a jab, but a bow of respect. I felt humbled by it. I thought, I'd like to tip my hat to the man. Fans also loved their freewheeling camaraderie. Elton once ran out on stage to join Joel for a song just because it was fun, Billy recalls, and countless recordings and YouTube clips show them laughing and high-fiving between numbers. By 2009, the marathon touring finally took a toll. Joel quietly planned a sabbatical, citing fatigue and hip problems. In February 2010, the final face-to-face concert took place, and it was overshadowed by rumors. When Elton told the press Billy just wants to take a year off, later expanded to slamming canceled dates and Joel's drinking, suddenly tabloids smelled a feud. Billy snapped back behind the scenes. "There's nothing going on," he insisted. "I had made up my mind a long time ago that I wasn't going to work this year." The April 2011 profile of Elton John set off fireworks. Sir Elton, seeming frustrated, launched into what he called tough love for his friend. "Billy's a conundrum," he said. "We've had so many canceled tours because of illnesses and various other things, alcoholism. Billy goes to rehab where they have TVs. You should be able to do something better than what you're doing now." Those comments, warning Joel to do better or else, dominated headlines for weeks. To Elton, it was out of genuine concern. "I love you, Billy, and this is tough love," he later said. To Billy, it was off-the-cuff Elton running wild in the press. He shrugged. "I've worked with Elton for such a long time. We enjoyed our relationship too much to let something as random as these comments change my affection for him. Elton is just being Elton." Behind the scenes, Joel was dealing with real health issues. He underwent double hip replacement surgery and admitted the decision to leave the tour had as much to do with medical necessity as with personal choice. As he said, "The last few gigs I did with Elton, I could barely walk. I had canes. Canes on stage is not good." So when he quietly said afterward that he never canceled any tour, "I didn't cancel it. It was never booked," he emphasized. It was true. The miscommunication cut both ways. Billy later confided that he'd been upset Elton's manager had discussed dates with the press without Billy's okay. "I asked him, 'Why didn't you call me? Don't talk to my agent. Talk to me,'" Joel said. Meanwhile, Elton's public stance hardened. In his 2019 memoir, he wrote of watching Joel doing that to himself with booze, admitting he just couldn't stand, seeing his friend self-destruct. In media interviews, he warned that Joel was now coasting, questioning why Billy hadn't kept writing songs, much to Joel's annoyance, as Billy had quietly decided to retire from pop songwriting after the 90s. Fans and columnists speculated, had a legendary partnership truly broken? But something surprising happened. By 2015, both men were doing their best to turn the page. In interviews, Billy emphasized that in truth, he and Elton were always friends. He quipped that John does that with everybody, He runs off at the mouth and regrets it later, meaning Elton often spouts bold statements, then takes them back. Billy insisted they had long since met to clear the air. "We made up a long time ago," he laughed, grinning as he described telling Elton, "Don't throw your friends under the bus." By then, Joel and John were swapping barbs good-naturedly again, joking about fashion or song choices backstage, and neither showed any hard feelings. "There are artists who continue to record because it keeps them relevant," Joel explained. "But if the quality of their work deteriorates, it drags down the entire catalog." In other words, Billy sees Elton as both a mentor and a cautionary tale for aging rock stars. Yet alongside the barbs was genuine affection and humor. By 2018, Elton's farewell Yellow Brick Road tour had John playing stadiums one last time, and Billy still considered him a dear friend. When a poster at Glastonbury hinted Joel might join Elton on stage, fans roared. But even without that, Joel has made his respect plain. He broke John's MSG concert record only to honor it, and he's repeatedly insisted he'd be happy to sing with Elton if he asked me to. As Billy said, a reunion duet is only a phone call away. In short, the years have matured their once volatile rapport into a warm, fraternal banter. Today, Joel regards Elton's career with a mix of admiration, humor, and frank realism. He celebrates Elton as a trailblazer, the guy before me on the piano throne, yet he won't shy from blunt truths. As the eldest of their generation still performing, Billy recognizes the pedestal on which history sits. He knows that each has hundreds of millions of records sold and a lifetime of songs beloved by fans worldwide. In interviews, he strikes a reverent note about Elton's achievements while insisting he owes no one any more hits. His quip about albums and legacy in 2018 showed that he values quality over quantity, even in a friend. Above all, Billy's recent words show that rivalry has given way to respect. In a reflective mood, he noted how lucky they were to have shared so much. "We'd have these friendly go-rounds," he chuckled, recalling how they'd rib each other, tying each other's shoes on stage or joking about album sales. But underlying the jokes was mutual understanding. Elton called Joel one of the greatest piano players ever, and Billy has said he's proud to be in the conversation alongside Sir Elton. Now, as legends with storied legacies, they can look back without bitterness, even finding humor in it. As Billy said, hitting Elton's concert record was a humbling moment. "He's the piano player before I was a piano man. I'd like to tip my hat to the man." And indeed, decades after their last face-to-face tour, that hat gets tipped once more.